to put stuff into OBS. So it's one that a friend of mine who does a lot of streaming on Twitch recommended as one that he'd had good experiences with.
Right.
That's worked out pretty well for our purposes there. And I've got Zoom on my phone, but this is the first I've tried Zoom like from the studio.
Ooh. Well, I'm glad I could pop your Zoom cherry. So how are you doing today, Adam?
I'm doing pretty good today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome.
That's good.
I went and took a fresh air break again today. Went to the Frontier Park, did a little PIing. So,
Nice.
yeah.
The rest of my family went to Frontier Park without me today. I was working from home today. So.
Oh, what the hell? What kind of stuff is that?
We went. I don't know. Time is a myth, and days of the week don't exist anymore. But we went some recent day together, and then I got back from running some errands today, and they all went without me while I sat in the basement and worked from home, which is okay.
Oh. Well, did you at least get something productive done while you were down in the basement?
Yeah, I did okay. I'm working my day job from home. My sad little working from home station.
Ooh, it's so gorgeous.
Is over there.
Okay.
And then over here is where I do fun stuff from home. So
yes.
Everything that I want to be doing is in arm's reach. So it's always like, okay, I need to work on this thing. I can't go over there and like play and make sounds and stuff.
Right. Hey, it works out. At least you've got everything in one little space. So it's just like, all right, I'm going to go over here. All right, cool. Over here. It works out.
Yeah, it does.
Well, let's get this party started. So why don't you tell the people a little bit more about yourself for who already doesn't know who you are?
Okay. My name's Adam Holquist. I live here in Erie. I'm an environmental engineer for Pennsylvania DEP. That's my day job, which we're all working from home right now. So I temporarily do that from my basement.
Okay.
And I have a solo project called Onewayness, which I heard you talking about a little bit, and another electronic project called Embroil, which is a duo of me and a friend of mine from Indianapolis. And I play in a band called the LEC, which some of you might be familiar with.
Love the LEC.
Fun band. And do a lot of other musical projects and put on experimental shows around town. And while shows in front of people are not a thing that's happening, I've been doing weird streaming stuff from my basement. So that's a fun thing that we'll try and talk about too, I'm sure.
Right. Okay. I dig it. So what do you do in the LEC?
I play keyboards in the LEC and do some backing vocals.
Okay, nice. Have you been in the LEC ever since they came together for the first time, or?
No, I'm not quite original. They started in, I want to say 2011, I think.
Okay.
And 2010 or 2011, and I joined in 2014. So I've been in the band for like 6 years now.
Okay.
The first two albums were with the original keyboard player, Pat Troster.
Okay.
He's living down in the Dallas area somewhere. He's going to grad school down there, so he has moved away. He comes back every once in a while, and we let him sit in.
Right. Okay.
I've been in the band for going on 6 years now.
Oh, nice. Well, time flies when you're having fun, right?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to in that long.
Right. How long have you been doing your whole one-wayness?
Well, I did an EP right when I got out of college in like 2002.
Okay.
But it was just a bedroom project that it was like, well, that's a fun thing I'll never do again. And then, the years went on and I got busy with like, respectable grown-up work and family and
right.
stuff. And I kind of got back into it in like 2010 or 2011. I started messing around with computers and synthesizers and started making some sounds. It's like, this is kind of like that stuff I used to do. And so put out my first kind of proper Onewayness album in 2011 and started playing shows as Onewayness in 2011. So I've been doing that.
Okay, nice. So you've been doing this for pretty much almost 10 years now. Almost a whole decade has passed.
Up on it, yeah.
That's awesome. So I know I was talking to Joshua the other night, and this is probably one of my most interesting questions I've been dying to ask you. So are you really a 3-time winning Jeopardy champion?
Yeah, that's a true story.
Oh my God, that is so did you even get on Jeopardy?
Well, the way the process works, it's they start with an online test, which they do about once a year. It's usually in like January or February.
Okay.
And it's 50 questions, all different categories, like you might see on the show. And it's
Right.
like boom, 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 real quick. It's like one question every 8 seconds.
Okay.
So you take that, and there's no official number, but kind of word on the street is 35 out of 50 is passing on that.
Okay.
And then if you make it through that, they do live auditions all around the country every year in like, I don't know, 8 or 10 cities. Um, and more people pass the test than they have time to see. So there's some luck of the draw at that part of it too.
Right.
So then you go to live auditions, and they give you another written test, which I think is mostly to prove that you're the same person that took the online test.
Okay.
And then do some interview stuff and bring you up 3 at a time and have you play a game. And then it's like, okay, you're in the pool, you're on the list. Don't call us, we'll maybe call you.
Okay.
And then you're on the list basically for up to 18 months. And if they call you, great. And if they don't, then you're welcome to start over.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know if the numbers have changed in the last. It's been a while since I've been on, but the numbers that they used to throw around in my time on the show was something like 100,000 people a year take the online test, and then for live auditions, I'll see something like 2,000 or 3,000, and then they'll actually use something like 400 on the show. So it's
okay, nice.
It's pretty slim odds. So
right. So it's pretty cool that you actually were able to actually get on the show.
Yeah.
How cool is Alex Trebek in person?
You get really limited time with him because he's involved with the writers, and he has all the material in advance. And I don't know if you're familiar with the quiz show scandals that happened back in the late 50s, early 60s, where there was a big scandal about rigging quiz shows.
Yes, I actually learned that in one of my college classes, so I know what you're talking about.
So like they're really conscientious about keeping anybody who has any advanced knowledge of the questions away from the contestants, which unfortunately includes Alex. So you really, the only time that you get to talk to him is literally the time that you see talking to him on the show. Like the first time he comes up to your podium to do the little.
Oh, God dang it. I'd be like, yo, I want some more time with Alex. That's what I'm here for.
The best like quality time you get with him is when the credits are rolling and he's just sort of like, he's just chatting with everybody. And that's just totally off book, just unscripted chatting about. Sometimes it's like something that came up in the show, or something from the little interview segment that's like, more about this thing that we talked about for 10 seconds. And so that's pretty cool.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, what was your end total winnings at the end of it?
It was like 77,000 something, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
You work it, baby, work it. That's awesome, though. I just got done watching Jeopardy with my mom before we got on here, so I was just like, I'm so excited, Mom. I get to go talk to someone who's a 3-time winning champion. This is so cool.
It's actually coming up on my anniversary of when my shows aired.
No way.
Yeah, my first show was April 9th of 2013, so it's coming.
Okay, dang.
Years. Yeah,
that is so cool. Well, I am so honored that I have a Jeopardy champion on my show. So it's so neat.
Yeah, I had a friend who's actually was supposed to be taping last week, but they've shut down taping because of everything.
Right.
She kind of went through the whole like stages of grief about her taping. I think at first it was like, oh, I hope everything works out, and then it's like, oh, this sucks that it's not going to happen, and then at some point it was like, well, it's a relief that it's not happening right now because travel's impossible and all of that. So I'm hoping for her that once everything blows over, that they when they start taping back up, that she'll be able to get back on.
Fingers crossed for her. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got a couple people on here saying they can't hear you. Can you turn your mic up a little bit?
I can put it closer to my mouth.
There we go.
My settings for a second. Where do I do this?
Boop, boo, doo, 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 doo. I'm like trying to do the Jeopardy song. I can't think of it. Do, 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 do.
Yeah, let me turn that up a little bit. Is that better?
It's a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, that's
There we go.
I'll lean in like that.
There we go. Yeah, give him the voice. Ah, well, cool. Well, let's keep going with this. So, what is your take on this whole COVID-19 pandemic that is going on right now in our whole world right now?
Well, at first I think I probably didn't take it as seriously as I should have. Like I think it's probably true for a lot of people.
Right?
Um, I mean, I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to work from home. So life can kind of mostly somewhat go on, not as normal, but I'm still working, I'm still making money, I can still like feed my family and stuff, which I know, I'm way more fortunate in that way than a lot of people unfortunately are right now.
Right.
Um, I'm hoping that, the things that everybody's doing right now, I'm hopeful that that's enough to bring it to bring it under control,
Right.
within another month or two, and then it's hard to know what life is going to look like after that. Everybody talks about life getting back to normal, but I think
Right.
I think there's going to be a lot of rethinking of what we used to think normal was.
Oh,
And
very, very true.
yeah, and it's hard to know, like, what kind of shape that's going to take.
Right. Only time can tell in certain circumstances like this. Just
Yeah,
like only time will tell if we may even get stuck in the house for another month, which
yeah.
I hope to God we don't. Because
Well,
this is killing me.
yeah, it's like week. Well, I started working at home. St. Patrick's Day was my first day working from home. Like we went into the office that Monday, and that Monday the order came down that we're working from home starting the next day. So Monday was basically like go to the office, get my
Right.
stuff, and come home. So this is week 4, I think now, and we got at least 3 more. So yeah, 7 weeks is
Right.
a long time to have life disrupted. And like my day job, like we're so dependent on physical documents and like paper applications and the mail and stuff like
Right.
that. Like it's taken a lot of just a regular cough. I'm not dying, I promise.
You're good.
It's taken a lot of kind of creativity and rethinking how we do things, because like when I work for DEP and I review permits and issue permits and stuff.
Right.
And the way it has always worked is it's a physical piece of paper that somebody signs their name to and sends in the mail. So it's like, well,
Right.
do we still need to do that, or is there another way to doing that?
Right.
And
Right.
I think there's even from little stuff like that to bigger things. There's been so much rethinking of like, well, this is the way we've always done things, but when push comes to shove, do we really need to be doing it that way? And how much of that stuff is just not going to go back.
Right.
And I
Right.
think a lot of that is, some of those are positive things, some of those are negative things, and some of those are just things that, you know, 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be like, oh, hey, remember when we used to do this thing? Oh, the days,
Right.
oh, grandpa.
Back in my days, we've had the COVID-19. I mean, seriously though, I mean, even doctor's office now, they're transforming over to doing like the whole digital output of like going to all of your appointments now. And
Yeah.
that's gonna completely change. It's gonna be that way even after this whole pandemic is over, which is crazy.
Well, and even little stuff like parking tickets,
Right,
the city's just gone like, it doesn't matter, which
right,
to me just says like it never really mattered in the first place.
right.
So, you know, it kind of takes a disruption to kind of, reassess what really matters and what's just sort of
Seriously
either
though.
inertia or, stuff that's being done for money or whatever. And,
Right,
I think there's a lot of potential for positive changes that could come out of it. I mean, it's undeniably going to suck for a lot of people for, you know, the short term and
right, right.
longer. But I guess I'm hopeful that, it can. it can come to an end sooner than later, and that there will ultimately be some good things that come out of it. We'll see.
Amen. Fingers crossed. I mean, I've never been so anxious to serve in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back to work. I'm gonna be like, can I please take your order? I need it now.
Now, where do you work? Where do you usually work?
So I work at the Erie Reader, of course, but then I also
Okay.
work at Calamari's. And
Oh, good.
then I got a new job right before all this happened at Stumpy's, the new axe
Oh,
throwing
the
place.
axe place.
Yes. So I'm an axe throwing coach. I'm a professional.
So, are you doing like Zoom lessons to teach people to throw axes at home?
Boy, I wish. Well, I should have just looked. Can I just bring one of the targets home and an axe and just practice while I'm at home stuck inside?
You'll be a better coach that way.
For real. Because I mean, like, I'm always so anxious because I'm really good at the two-handed one, but the one-handed one, I always like bounce it off the board and it always comes back.
Oh, that's
And yeah, it's pretty scary. So I promise I'm okay. I promise it's good. But I just can't wait when I'm doing them and be like, all right, guys, don't laugh at me, but this is how you do it one-handed.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm going to have to get back into it once I finally get back in there. I'm like, just give me like a couple test runs and then I can actually teach some people. Don't throw me right into it.
Back in shape again.
There we go. Got to do our workouts. Yes. Yes. So, I mean, what are you doing in a positive light during such this difficult and trying time that's going on? To pass the time, that is.
The thing that's been fun, I mean, from a creative standpoint, well, creative it maybe isn't quite the word for it, but I host this series called Electroflux Experimental Music Series, which
Okay.
hosts local folks and touring bands. And you actually came to our last show, which was at Bastion Studios.
Yes. Oh my God, that was so much fun.
Yeah. So that was our last like in-person show before all this shit went down. And so I've been throwing shows. That was our first one there. We've been doing them. We did them at back when Basement Transmissions was at their old location. We did them at Old BT. We've done some at New BT. Done them at PACA. Did a whole bunch at Erie Movie House. Various venues around town, and then just kind of found Bastion in the last few months. And
Okay.
so we were all set to have our next one at Bastion. Was supposed to be March 20th, I think it was.
Right.
Which is like that was in that window when
Right.
everything was changing like every 2 hours. Like,
Right.
this
Exactly.
is closed, that's closed, this is canceled, that's
Yeah.
canceled. And so it was like, we were kind of trying, and it was two friends of mine, one from Michigan and one from Iowa, who were on tour. So I was like, well, I don't want to like be irresponsible and endanger people, but I also don't want to leave my friends who are on the road stranded with nowhere to play and nowhere to stay. So
Right.
I was sort of like, well, what are we going to do about this? And I kind of happened on the idea of, well, maybe we won't let people in, but maybe we'll just stream it.
Okay.
So I bought that camera and got all my software figured out, and like, okay, well, okay, I'm ready to do that. Like, whether we're gonna have people there or whether we're not, let's try this. Let's stream this.
Right.
And then they ended up canceling their tour, which by that time was totally understandable. It's
Right.
like they
Right.
were losing so many shows and everything was like going sideways, and they're like,
Only makes sense.
we just gotta go home. But by that time, I was really excited about streaming something. So,
Right.
I was at the same time I was talking to my friend Michael Bennett, who hosts Space Cookies.
Yep. Love
And
him.
he, I forget how the phrase came up, but the phrase social distancing variety hour came up, and like, yep,
Okay.
that's the thing. That's what we're doing. And it just
Yes.
he said the words, and it just sort of instantly became
And
this
just
like
boom.
totally clear concept of how this was going to work. Because Michael and I, it's not really a thing anymore, but it's not a thing. We had a project called Triage Unit. That's
Okay.
sort of like a I don't like to call it a jam band, but it's free improvised stuff. And Michael writes a lot of poetry, so he does sort of like free association kind of slam poetry style.
Okay. That's interesting.
Vocal stuff over like full band improvised electronics and guitars and bass and drums music. And we played a bunch of gigs a bunch of years ago. We played Chafee's in, I think it was 2014 or 15. We played at the Crooked Eye several times back when the Crooked Eye was around.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, well, we'll do a little segment of that every show, just him and me. You know, me improvising on my stuff and him improvising some words over top of that. We'll have some guests. We'll have people send us videos, and it'll be like our little late night cable access show
Okay.
streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and so it's on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So we've been doing that.
Nice.
We just did. I guess it was our fourth one. We just did our fourth one last night. We at first it was like, well, we'll do one whenever we feel like it and whenever we got enough stuff, or
Right.
whenever schedules align or whatever. And it's sort of turned into Sunday nights. So so we've been doing that Sunday nights at 10 until at 10 for at least an hour. So
Right.
variety hours of rhetorical hour. So it's been anywhere between like an hour and 20 minutes and almost 2 hours. So
Okay, nice.
The first one, it was still what they were telling people at the time was like, limit your contact with people, no large gatherings, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So
All that jazz.
And Michael like literally lives around the corner from me, and
Oh, that's perfect.
we'd already been seeing each other. So we were already like, we'd been exposed to each other. So like, we're not,
right. You're like, we already got it if we do.
we're not adding anything by, him coming over to my house and sitting in my basement.
Right.
And at that time, it was still, the emphasis was on limiting the size of gatherings and stuff like that. And like, you can see my space, it's not very big. And there's room here for like me and Michael and maybe one other person.
Right, exactly.
So the first one was me and Michael, and Yeshua was here with us.
I did see that.
So Yeshua did a couple tunes, and Yeshua jumped in and dropped some bars on me and Michael's improv thing.
All right, typical Yesh.
And then between then and the next week, it was like, things had evolved a little bit more. So it was like, well, it's okay for Michael to still come over, I think, but we probably shouldn't have anybody else over here. So
right.
The second one was just me and Michael here in the room, and then everybody else was video conferenced. And then
right.
It was the day after that one that the stay-at-home order came from the governor's office, and
okay,
well, we should probably not. So we figured
right. We don't want to break the rules.
Yeah, like I don't want to talk to the governor because I technically work for him. So we figured out, we spent the next week getting video conferencing together to make it work with, me here on 7th Street and Michael on 6th Street, and outside guests and stuff. So now it's me sitting here in my basement and him sitting over in front of his bookshelves, and other guests coming and joining. We had some poets on. We had C. Williams on last night. We had a poet friend of mine from Chicago on a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
We've had some musician friends video conference in and jam with us. We've had people video conference in and just do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people are sending me weird videos, music videos, performance footage. Weird little art film stuff that they made. So strange animations and a little bit of everything, and just kind of stylistically all over the place, like anything kind of goes. So
right. And that's really interesting too, that you're not only just doing locals, but you've got both near and far creatives coming for a little bit of everywhere, which is really awesome.
Yeah, and I've kind of like I haven't shared it out everywhere with everybody that I know, but I've shared it in some. Like there's an online community that I'm in that's very kind of like music and technology focused.
Okay.
And like, you guys, I bet you there's some people here who are doing some interesting stuff with videos. So I shared it there, and it got some interesting stuff. And I shared it locally and got some interesting stuff. And then I'm actually there's a secret Facebook group of Jeopardy alumni.
Okay.
Because of course there is.
As there should be.
Yeah, we had gotten into a conversation where I kind of noticed that there's a whole bunch of people there who are also musicians. So
mm-hmm.
like there needs to be a Musicians of Jeopardy Facebook group, because that's just that's a weird little intersection of communities. It's like we need a place to just be weird together. So I shared it there, and I actually got some interesting stuff from like people from the Jeopardy community.
Yeah.
One of whom was in like a like Eastern European sort of dance music band from
Oh, that's very interesting. You
yeah,
don't really see that often.
yeah, he's called Orkestar Bez Ime, who does like Bulgarian dance music.
Ooh,
So we had that on this, we had one of their videos on the show, and some singer-songwriter stuff from another Jeopardy person. So yeah, we've kind of, there's always local stuff, and a lot of it is people who have come and played my shows or who I've played with, when I go out on the road and stuff. So
right. Nice. Well, that's good that you guys are doing that. I mean, we're keeping everyone busy with
yeah,
something to do while we're all stuck inside. I mean, whether you're into poetry or into music, they get a little bit of everything. So that's
yeah.
nice. Very, quite the variety indeed.
Well, that's the idea,
Right, right.
right there in the title. So we try and make it work.
I like it. I like it. Now, are you still working on your music as well while you're stuck in the house?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
I got a lot of my stuff set up. You can't really see it in this camera angle. I'll move my camera over here.
Okay. Okay, there's the whole setup.
Here's
Yeah.
some of it anyway. So yeah, I got my modular set up here, and I got
Okay.
my little table of toys over here. Actually, I just got LEC. We're trying to work on doing a little video thing with all of us in our own locations. So I was just doing
Awesome.
that yesterday and today. So I got like an actual like keyboard out. So yeah, I've done one like full live streaming set from here, which was part of a big streaming event that had a bunch of multiple people doing it, and it was actually just an audio like internet radio streaming thing. But I'm like, I got my stuff here. I'll just video stream it too.
Right.
And I got a bunch of projects kind of in the works. Emerald, which is my duo thing that I talked about a little bit. We've got a bunch of live recordings from shows that we did last year, which we do. When we play, we do kind of a combination of our recorded stuff and a lot of improvised stuff. So we had basically like an album's worth of good improvised stuff from the shows that we did last year. So I've been sort of like compiling that and editing that, and that's kind of stuff that I can do passively in the background while I'm 6 feet away doing my day job. Like I can put that on and go like, yep, keep that part. Nope, don't keep that part.
Right.
Let's try that part after that part. So I've been working on putting that together, and I got a bunch of kind of collaborative projects that have they're kind of in my queue and not really, I haven't really been doing all that much with. So I'm trying to kind of bang some of that stuff out. And yeah, I mean it's been a lot of little things. Like I haven't really dived into like trying to make an album or do a big
Okay.
project. But I'm sort of chipping away little chunks at various projects that are mostly things that have kind of been lingering for a while. So
Right.
it's given me a chance to do kind of a lot of cleanup of the kind of not unpleasant, but the kind of administrative drudgery parts of
Right. Right. The down and gritty,
yeah. It's like I got this. Well, I actually I don't know. I think you showed up after I played at the show at Bastion last time, but like I got a good recording of my set at the Bastion show that we did.
Okay.
That was January or February. So like I got that mixed, and that's ready to be a piece for something. So yeah, I've been like mixing live recordings and kind of clean up and doing a bunch of stuff like that, and doing weird streaming talk shows,
Hey,
which has
well,
been
whatever it is that we can pass the time, we got to do it because,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's all that we have. That's why I've been doing this so that I'm just like constantly doing something so that by the time I blink, turn around, it's going to be the 30th and then I can run out my house on the 1st.
Well, you got this like extrovert energy about you. Like I can tell that it's driving you crazy. Not
It
being
really is. I
not
just
being
want to
able
hug
to.
people and
Oh
yell and dance and everything.
yeah, I've definitely snuck a hug or two when I've run into the right person out in public. It's like you I trust.
Yes, exactly. I know it's gonna be slim picking on the hugs though once I get out of
Yeah.
here, because I still am gonna be very cautious because everyone's gonna like rush out, and I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna give it like a couple weeks, and then we'll be good. I'll still go to work, but going out to the bars and like hugging up on everyone, we're gonna give some time for that.
Yeah. You need to see everybody's papers first. Like,
Hey, amen. Did you get your discharge? Did you get your test? Okay, we're good. We're good. We can hug now.
okay, we're good.
So, have you found anything to be challenging for you during this time that you've been stuck inside?
Yeah. I mean, part of it that's, I mean, it's great, but it's also challenging. Is like our kids are home too.
Right,
Um, so they're home and trying to be like at school at home, and
right,
like, I'm trying to work, so I'm not as available for that as I'd like to be. Like they're doing all this cool stuff, like they're having their 11 a.m. yoga break where they're doing yoga,
oh
watching
my
on
gosh.
YouTube and stuff. I'm like, I want a yoga break. I don't
Right,
want
I
to
want to pull up on the yoga session.
I don't want to be doing this. So like, I'm feeling like, it's great to have them so close and it's great to have them around, but I'm also sort of like very conscious of that they're doing all of this cool stuff that I'm having to miss or having to limit my involvement in just because I am working at home. But it's also great that I'm able to work at home. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like there's a lot of trade-offs in you know being home and having everybody else home. But
Right,
we still all like each other, thankfully.
right. Well, that's good because I know the tensions are getting rough in my house. I'm like, oh my God, if you cross my path one more time, we're going to start throwing hands at each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely all gotten a little crispy once or twice, but we manage it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you are able to at least get most of the things done, not having too many challenges. But damn, I definitely want to pull up on that yoga, so I can feel where your frustrations may lie. So, do you have any like new inspirations, techniques, or anything else that have come up while you've been kind of stuck at home and trying to like fix around with everything?
um, I don't know if it's a new inspiration, but like it's been really nice, like because for me, like I'm in the studio right now, but like there's no real difference for me between what's my gear in the studio and what's my gear when I play a show. So when I'm in a mode where I'm playing a lot of shows, I'm constantly tearing this stuff down and dragging it out and dragging it back in. So
Mhm.
I don't get any work done
Right.
because it's like, oh, all my everything's upstairs. I
Oh,
don't
that's a
really want to
pain.
I don't really want to drag it down here, set it all up, and I'm not going to have any time to work on it because, I got another show 2 days from now, so it's
Right,
not even really
right,
worth trying to get anything done. So it's been kind of nice to just, I mean, this is not everything, but to have like a bunch of stuff out and know that it's not going anywhere anytime soon, that I can just sort of, I'm not under any pressure to work on things. It can just be there, and I can just think about it, or poke at it slowly, or whatever, without really feeling like I'm under the gun to like, oh, I got this show on Saturday that I got to tear this all down for, so
right, right,
I better grind this out tonight, and um, so yeah, I mean that's been kind of a luxury, and it's made me think about like I don't really I don't really want to be buying gear right now, but um,
amen, amen,
but it's sort of made me think like, I mean, there's things that I'm not gonna buy a second one of these,
right,
um, but like, it's started to make me think about like, well, maybe I should have a second computer that just lives down here and I can just take the laptop out for
right,
shows, or maybe I do need a second iPad that I can just leave down here for stuff and take one out for
right.
shows. Um,
Things to add
so
to the stimulus check shopping list.
yeah, and like I said, it's not a real opportune time to be. It's not a real opportune time for gear lust, and I've managed to I've managed to keep that pretty in check for the last couple of years. Like I don't really I don't really want much. Like I'm pretty satisfied with like my equipment situation and all of that. But like just having it out and having it accessible has kind of made me like that and mm, you
It
know
makes you be kind of more prone to actually like want to do stuff with it now that it's actually all there in front of your face all the time.
yeah, absolutely. And like I'm I'm working 10 feet away from it, so it's always
Right.
there. And like I'm like walking over here because like this is what I have in the room to listen to music on is like my monitor speakers that are here in the studio. So like I'm walking over here and putting music on, and like while I'm here I'm like, hmm,
Let me tinkle with this and tinker with that.
let me give that boy a little tweak. um so yeah, just having it out and accessible, and not worrying about when I'm gonna have to tear it down next, because that's not anytime soon. It's been
Right. Well, I can dig it. I can dig it. So, as a musician and an artist, kind of what is your goal to uplift the people around you, especially your fans and followers that continue to give you support even in these tough times?
um that's a good question. um well, I think the thing that you know because I'm a little bit like you, that I've to me, I'm definitely missing connection with people and connection with community and all of that. So I guess
Amen. So
I guess
true.
that's I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to cultivate and trying to create with the stuff that I'm doing, is like this sense that even though we're all in our own individual little bunkers, that there's still this thread of community that runs through all these communities that we're all part of.
Very true.
And there's these intersections between them. Like it's not you know the eerie scene's not this thing that's over here, and the experimental scene's not this thing that's over here. It's like I'm trying to like reach out to this group that I'm in contact with over here, and my local folks, and you know people that I'm connected to in another way, and kind of trying to, I guess, connect all these different threads, and just, I don't know, provide some sort of like something that we can all be a part of together. I don't know.
Right. And I like that. I like that because, especially in this time, we're all stronger together, even though we're all supposed to be alone in a way.
Yeah.
But it's still great that we can all still come together through technology and through all these different shows that we're doing, because that's the only way we're really going to get by, especially for people like myself who are extroverts, who are so dire need for that itch of communication with other people. So
Yeah.
it's really good that we can be able to have this and be able to bring the community together, at least in this way, until we can get back out into the outdoors and see each other all again.
Amen.
So, what is the best and the worst thing that you've taken from this pandemic?
The best and the worst thing. Um,
Making you think.
yeah, you are making me think. That's good. That's good. I like that. It's really made me appreciate my family a lot. Like,
Right, right.
it's been, a lot of sort of like forced time around them, but like I just, you know, yeah, there's times when it gets old and times when it gets frustrating, but like
Amen.
just like we say to each other all the time, like, oh, we have such great kids, and so, they just, yeah, so that's been that's been really nice. And the worst thing, I mean, it's hard to see, friends and people you care about who are struggling and suffering because of what this is doing to, businesses and people's livelihood. And, it's tough to see people struggling and not really feel like there's much that you can do to help. And
Right.
and also, anything like this is is going to bring out the worst in certain people. But
Very true.
there's also something kind of nice about that, because it's like, when shit gets weird, it's like the trash kind of takes itself out a little bit, and like,
Right, right.
people kind of show their true colors and stuff like this,
Oh yeah, you know it
and
for sure.
yeah,
I've
and it's just
definitely
like,
experienced that firsthand already with a couple people. Everyone's starting to
yeah,
be like,
yeah.
"Oh, well, I'm
I've
all
been
about myself now," and like, "Oh, like I don't know." It's just so annoying. It's like, yeah, I get it. Like, it's a time to focus on yourself, and yeah, we all have to be worried about ourselves and our families, but at the same time, like, you don't have to turn on people just because this whole pandemic has gone around. Like you should still be able to be the same person you were before. Like don't just switch up just because we're all trapped in the house now and you're all scared. Like we're supposed to be in this together, not
yeah.
start pushing people away because
Well, and there's a lot of misplaced blame, and there's a lot of people like being real willing to go down like 4chan QAnon rabbit holes,
yes.
and like and put their name behind some crazy shit, and it's like, oh, it's like that, huh? Okay, well,
Yeah.
I think we're done here.
Right, exactly. I'm like, okay, well, all
Yeah,
right, on to the next then, because I don't have time to deal with this.
right, exactly.
Oh,
So that's one of those things that's it's a negative thing, but it's a blessing in disguise too, I think.
right. Oh, well, at least we can still be cool. I
Oh
appreciate
yeah,
it.
yeah, we're good.
So, do you have any words of wisdom or advice that you would like to provide to the people?
Oh, you're getting high level with me here.
I know I'm trying to make you just bring out everything you have that's been just hiding in the back of your brain.
I guess words of advice is like, I don't know. It's gonna sound cliche, but like,
That's fine.
we've all got stuff we've been putting off, and stuff we've been like, oh, you know this one little aspect of the project that we're doing seems like so much work and seems so tedious. And
Right.
I guess, for me, like, now has been kind of a time for tedious things, but in a healthy way. That's like, well, I got all the time in the world. Now's the time to do this annoying thing that it feels like I never have time to do.
Right.
And like, whether it's like figure out how to stream, because like I've been part of communities that have been doing these streaming events for years,
Right.
and it's always been like, oh, I really need to figure that out someday. Oh, sounds hard. Maybe next time. But it's like, this has been like the kick in the ass for me to figure that out. And
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of people out there who probably have, whether it's creatively or whether it's in their home life or in their, whatever. Um, I think there's probably a lot of people who have that one thing or those couple things. And I guess my words of wisdom is, maybe think about what that thing might be that, um, you know, that this is the extra time for that you wish
Amen.
you had.
I agree with that because, like, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people, a lot of my friends, a lot of my peers that are out here, and they're dealing with a lot of the mental illness that is taking a toll on people when they're trapped inside, not being able to be around people. And it's like, instead of sitting there and being sad and lingering on what's going on in your mind, it's like, why don't you find something to put all that thought into? Like, find a hobby, find something that you can do, like go for a walk, like pick up like a piece of pen and write on paper, and or draw something, like anything and anything to just try and fill your time when all this is going on.
Well, and it's so hard for me to relate to the people who are bored.
Right.
Like, I
I agree that with that completely.
I'm finding like I got more stuff to do. Like, in normal life, I got more stuff to do than I got time to do it in, and
Right.
like, this has not changed that. And like, even just from like a watching people play music standpoint, like, I made a post like a week or so ago that like I've watched more friends of mine play music from my kitchen in the last couple weeks than I have like in a normal, several months out in the world.
Seriously though, same.
Every night it's like, this friend of mine is doing a streaming thing at 6 o'clock. This friend of mine is doing one at 7:30. This friend of mine is doing one at 9 o'clock.
Right.
So it's like, if you're interested in anything, like, yeah, the ground rules and how we're doing all the things have changed, but like all of this stuff is still going on. And even like, circling back to the Jeopardy thing, like normally, like there's all the like pub quiz and bar trivias and all that stuff. I'm like, I don't have time to commit to that.
Right, right.
I got enough going on. Like I'm not gonna commit to going out every Tuesday. But now it's like they're all streaming too, and it's like
right. So now you actually get to partake in them.
Yeah, and it's like every pub trivia company in the country is streaming all their games. So it's like every night it's like, this friend of mine is hosting their game and this friend of mine is hosting their game. And it's like, normally I do none because because it just isn't a priority, but it's like, there's so many. It's like, well, I'm going to pick one good one. So it's, just being so, I just feel so inundated with like options of cool stuff to do and cool stuff to be involved with, even from home. It's like, I have a hard time relating to people who are like, oh, I'm stuck at home, there's nothing
For
to do.
real.
Don't you like anything?
Right, for real though. Like, what were you doing when this wasn't even going on? Like, like I get like a lot of there's a lot of people that do strive off of the nightlife. So like that was their main thing. Like they would go out every night, or go to this show, go to that show. Yeah. But it's like, is that really all you ever did with your life? Because like I can't even fathom it. Like, I mean, even me, like I took this time. I was like, all right, well, I can't do any articles for the e-reader right now because we're not printing out any editions. But I was like, well, wait, I could start at least like writing articles about different creatives. I'm not going to get paid for it, but at least I'm still doing what I love. It's still going to fill up my time. Right. So I completely understand where you're coming from on that one. Like, how in the hell are you bored? Like, you need to really evaluate your whole life, because if you're bored in this time, like, what are you going to do when this is all over?
Right.
Oh, well, I can kind of feel like we're getting to the end of this. Did you prepare a showcase for me?
I can do some stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. So why don't you pull up on us with some funky stuff? Let's show us what you got.
All right. Are you hearing this?
I'm hearing it. If you can turn it up maybe a little bit more, you might want to, but. Ooh, busting out the guitar.
How's that?
Hey, that was awesome, dude. I was vibing out to that. That was dope.
Cool, thanks.
You're welcome. You are such a really awesome dude. Like, I'm really glad that I got to learn a little bit more about you because you definitely put me on. I'm definitely on the one-wayness now. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to come on my show. Thank you again so much for taking the time out of your day
Oh, me
and
too.
coming
Thanks
out
for having
here,
me.
spreading the love, the good vibes, and teaching us all a little bit more about yourself.
Well, thank you.
Hey, not a problem at all. So, if people want to look you up, how can they find you?
I am name's Adam Holquist. I'm on Facebook. You can be my friend probably, unless you suck. I'm on Instagram. I'm onewayness on Instagram. I'm onewayness music on Twitter, although I never go on there.
Amen.
My I used
Twitter
to.
schmitter.
My music is at onewayness.bandcamp.com. Embral is at embral.bandcamp.com. That's EMBRAL. The LEC is at the lec.bandcamp.com. That's fun stuff too. Y'all should check that out.
Heck yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you know. And all of those projects all have social media pages and all of that stuff. So, and check out Social Distancing Variety Hour, which is Sunday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern until 11:30 or midnight or whenever we get tired of talking.
Amen.
And that's on my Facebook page and also on YouTube. If you search for my name or search for onewayness on YouTube, you'll find my YouTube page. And it's also on Twitch, twitch.tv/onewayness. So the past episodes are up there. You can check them out and check out lots of interesting artists and join us next Sunday. And I don't know what that's going to be yet because we just did it yesterday.
We'll just go with the flow and we'll see what happens. You gotta keep people guessing.
Yeah.
That's how you get the best audiences. They'll be like, oh my God, what's he gonna do? We don't know. We might as well just tune in.
Could be great. Could be anything. Could be crazy.
Amen. Well, hey, thank you again so much.
Thank you.
I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay safe out there in this craziness that's going on.
All right, you too.
And then hopefully I'll see you once all this is over.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much. Have a good night, honey.
See you. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. So that's it. Thank you guys all for tuning in to Tales Behind the Creative. That was another episode with Adam Holquist. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I mean, I did. That was a lot of fun for me. I really didn't know much about him, but now I feel like I know so much. He's such a cool dude, and I really can't wait to get to see him in person and actually have a full face-to-face conversation with him because quite the interesting and creative man, for sure. So like I said earlier, I'm going to finish up this clip that he sent me of his music so you guys can get a little bit more, because I know it was a little bit quiet for some of you guys, so I want you guys to hear a little bit more about it, and then we'll wrap it up and I'll send you guys off. So let me get this up and play him for you, and then we'll do our thing.